Good Sunday evening, high school sports fans. Joe Gillaway with Lingelstown Gazette Sports live from the Orchard Street studio. And this is our High School Hoops weekly recap show. I'll be joined momentarily by our panel of experts, along with our special opening guest as soon as we're done thanking those responsible for bringing you tonight's show. And they are our Lingelstown Gazette Sports Platinum sponsors. Capital Region Insurance Agency, Payer Apparel, Team PA, AAU Basketball, Ted's Bar and Grill, The Tire Mart, Robert H. Hoke, American Legion Post 272, Crystal Bob at Iron Valley Real Estate, Hoffman Ford, Sam Hartley Decking, and Tonino's Pizza. Thank you to these great local businesses for their continued support of Lingelstown Gazette Sports and our area student athletes. Some heavy hitters there, John, huh? Some really great businesses in our
longtime sponsors of Lingelstown Gazette Sports.
They really are. We really
and
appreciate
great local area businesses.
Yep, absolutely. So upcoming, I'm working on, and this is, I have to mention this. This is not boys basketball. This is girls basketball. But boy, do I ever have four of the top girls basketball players. I would say in the state, definitely in the South Central Pennsylvania area. And they've all confirmed. We're just looking for a date. They are Kayana Taylor from Central Dauphin, Macy Yanoski from Mechanicsburg, Jayla Kozier from Middletown, and Ava London from Susquehanna Township. If you know girls basketball, you know these girls. That's for sure. They're very good players, nice young ladies, and I'm excited to have them joining us here. So we're looking at maybe the last Wednesday in January at this point. Always like to mention that most of or a lot of the photos we use are compliments of Penn Live. They have a lot of great professional photographers, and we do use a photo here and there of them. So we really appreciate it. I also want to mention this. This has become, I think, kind of a thing we do. Fellas, if you have not been tested, your PSAs, they call it, your blood test for prostate cancer, please do. I am right now recovering from having my prostate removed just under a month ago. And I know that there's a lot of men out there that are just afraid of doctors, or they're afraid of outcomes. They don't want to hear if something's wrong with them. Well, we'd rather hear that something's wrong with you and you have the opportunity, just as other men in the community, whether you're our friends or not, and have the opportunity to address whatever issue you may be having. Prostate related. 1 of 7 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime. And it's as easy as a PSA testing, which is blood work, to get things started as far as figuring out if you may be somebody that has this prostate illness. So that's it. We're going to mention that just because I've been through it, and this isn't about me at this point. I'm recovering. It's about you, and if somebody's watching this that has a loved one that's a man, probably from age mid-40s on, please encourage them. So anyway, we're excited for our guest tonight. We first tried to book him maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was busy, and they're having a great season. I don't think he needs any more introduction. Let me bring in our opening guest tonight, Bishop McDevitt. Second time around, Bishop McDevitt, Coach Jim Rowe. Coach, how are you?
Pretty good, thank you. How's everyone?
We're well.
Welcome, Coach.
We've been chomping at the bit to have you, man. We really have. All three of us. We've been texting each other, and we're just excited. You're one of those guys in our area that we really look up to. I know that the community, the high school sports community, looks up to you as a coach, and I couldn't be happier for you that, again, you came in here. It was kind of an 11th hour decision by the school, by the athletic department. They needed a coach, and you were on the roster as an assistant coach, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. I've been there the last couple of years.
Okay. And they were just fortunate enough that you said yes. So we don't need to get into it anymore. Let's talk about basketball and how your team's doing. You guys are off to an undefeated start. A big win over Trinity. And I know that it's a game at a time, a win at a time, a practice at a time for you, because you've been around long enough that there's really no other way to approach it. But, we like to see the McDevitt Trinity rivalry, blossom and exist, actually. And Trinity had gotten the best of you guys, a lot of times in a row. But let's just talk about, and I'm going to pass it along to these guys. Talk about the DNA of this team. What makes this team who they are? What makes them good? What has allowed them to win all these games so far this season, Coach?
Well, I think, we got a great bunch of kids, number one. And we have a large roster at carrying 15 guys. I've never carried that many, but they all deserve to be on the team. And they really get along with each other. They like each other a lot. And the way we approach every day is, we want to win that day at practice, because I keep preaching to them about, we win our games at practice. I mean, I know we play Tuesday night, but the way we practice today and tomorrow is going to carry over into Tuesday. And of course, winning definitely helps them get the message, and they believe in what you're telling them. But they're just a great bunch of guys to be around. And they're obviously very excited with our start, but got a long way to go yet.
Yeah, it's exciting for everybody. I mean, if you like high school sports in Central PA, I mean, an undefeated team and you're right. You have a long way to go, but there's only a handful left, and that's exciting for us all. John, you want to jump in?
Welcome, Coach. Great to have you here. So you are off to an 8-0 start. I'm not sure if you have any history. With last time boys McDevitt basketball started that 8-0 undefeated so far. I can't remember how long it's been, but great start. You do have big wins this year so far over Milton Hershey, Trinity, and Cedar Cliff. You got a couple big games scheduled, non-league games, I've noticed. How did you get them scheduled? Executive Education Academy Charter, who is 7-1 out of District 11, and Holy Ghost, who's 7-2 out of District 1. You got those two games coming up.
Yeah, well, I'll add on one other victory that I thought was really important for us was the Red Line victory.
They're much improved. They're a good team.
The Cedar Cliff tournament, because I really felt these guys, needed to hang their hat on some type of accomplishment, and that was the first one we tried to get, is winning something during the course of the season. As far as the scheduling goes, I mean, that was all done previously with Jason. That put the schedule together. So yeah, we do have, we have executive education coming up soon. And then, like you mentioned, Holy Ghost Prep, we have Benedictine Prep, a charter school out of Virginia. And we have Central Dauphin East down the road, which I just saw the other night. And they're a very, very athletic, very good team as well. So yeah, besides some of the league games, we have a good schedule, but that's what we want. I mean, I'd rather play people really good competition and just see where we need to improve in order to help us down at the end going into the postseason.
John, thanks for pointing that out. I just I pointed out the Trinity game, but I mean, at least half of their wins have come against some really stout competition. Dave Berman?
Yeah, Holy Ghost is loaded, as you know, Coach. But yeah, one game at a time. I want to run down some of your players. First of all, a young man, I've announced a bunch of his summer stuff at the Big 60 Showcase in Lancaster County. Dominic Baker, great bloodlines in his family with his mom and dad. So tell us about Dom. He's only a ninth grader, and he looks good.
Yeah, Dom is in the big moments, it doesn't seem to faze him. Especially, 6 of our first 8 games are on the road. He's played extremely well at Milton Hershey, at Trinity. And he's doing a lot of little things for us that don't show up on a box score as well. I mean, he has a really good basketball IQ for a young kid. I mean, he's 16 out of 17 from the foul line on the season. He's shooting about 70% from 2-point range. So, he has a tremendous upside though. And he's the type of kid that wants to get better.
Yeah, you have a lot of guys that can score and a lot of young guys too. Junior Kenyon Portee, 15.3 a game. Ethan Hammer at 13.3 a game in points. He's a senior. Is it the Patrick
Denesco, yeah.
Denesco, 10 points a game. There's Dom with 8.7. Tommy Jones, Liam Fuller, and it's good to have a lot of depth, especially.
If I can interrupt just for a second, there can't be a stronger backcourt in the area than and there may be one equal. I'm not putting any other backcourts down, but man, well, how about that backcourt, Coach?
Well, yeah, I mean, I always feel one of the most important parts of your team is like the football, like the quarterback in football and the point guard in basketball. And Tommy has really has developed since last year to this season so far, and he's capable of knocking shots down too. So if he's left alone, he can hurt you. But he's doing a great job running the offense and getting people the ball. He's doing a great job of getting the ball down the floor. We like to get up and down in a controlled fast break environment. But I think what makes us at 8-0 right now is that these guys play very hard together. They share the basketball. They don't care who's scoring. And it shows that we basically have about 4 guys in double figures. Not huge numbers, close to a couple, 10 a game and a 13 and a 16. But that, to me, is what makes us effective, because we have the balance and, throughout our roster, and guys can come in and also contribute.
Go ahead, Dave. You have another one?
I was just running down the roster all the way down there's a lot of guys you have. And what a career you've had too, Coach. I mean, we can go on and on about that. You grew up in the Harrisburg area, right?
Yes. Yeah, I've lived here my whole life. Mm-hmm. And I like to talk more about the players than myself. I think Ethan Hammer is a tremendous leader. He's one of the quiet type leaders, though, but he's done a terrific job, and he's just very hungry. These guys, they want more than regular season wins. And then you mentioned Patty Donesco. He's shooting the ball very well for us. He sometimes plays the point position when Tommy's out of the game. Kenyon, has been our leading scorer. It's really his first year playing varsity basketball. He came last year but wasn't able to play. Came over halfway through the season, but sometimes he wants to go faster than his body warrants, and just trying to keep him under control and play with the pace, but play with some patience. Sometimes players think they got to go so fast all the time, and I just tell them that you got to read the defense. You got to see what the defense is doing, and sometimes you got to mix your game up, mix up the pace of the game, and we just have a lot of pieces, and I tell them that it's like a puzzle. Everybody's a part of that puzzle, and if we can all put that puzzle together, we're gonna have some success.
Talk about your coaching staff, your assistant coaches.
Well, I think our coaches are tremendous. I have John Sullivan, who played for me at McDevitt. Steve Kunzelman, he's been there the last couple of years as well. Vinny Gambalungi's our JV coach. Benny Green's our assistant JV coach. Not only do these guys know the game, they know how to teach the game. There's a lot of guys that understand basketball, but they can't teach it a proper way to kids. But most importantly, I'm most proud of the staff is that these guys are great guys. These guys they're in for the right reasons, and they're trying to teach these guys not only basketball, but life lessons through playing the game of basketball. And that's our priority. Everybody wants to win, but we want to help these kids later on in life.
Absolutely. So I got a couple questions or comments here from viewers. Joel Falcone says, as a former McDevitt coach, it's a blessing to see Coach Rowe back at the helm, giving us a great flashback from the 90s and 2000s. Good luck, Coach Rowe, from Joel Falcone. And then from one of our regular, he's with us every Sunday night, Kirby Lentz says, ask Coach Rowe what the passing of Mike Scheib meant to local basketball. I think they were great friends, he said.
Well, yeah, you hit me with that one. Yeah,
Mike, I think it was definitely asked for the right reason. I know this guy that asked, and I guess he knows that you guys are close.
Mike was a tremendous human being, and one of my best friends. And I always said, at his service, I said, if there's anybody that could have played back in the 70s and take that the way he played back then, I felt he could play today in today's game, because he was able to create his own shot. He had tremendous quickness and ball handling skills, and won the Naismith Award for the best player in the country under 6 foot, and that was all divisions back then. But Mike was a very humble guy. He always say the guys that are the better players never have to talk about himself. Everybody else talks about him, and Mike as great a player as he was, he's even a better person.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you, Kirby and Joel Falcone. John?
And Coach, you've been coaching for a while now. I think
28th season.
Right.
Total.
So, but it goes over pretty much about 5 decades, and you hear a lot about how, the kids have changed. From the 80s to the 90s to 2000s to now, and a lot of coaches say that the kids haven't changed, and that's probably pretty accurate. What do you think about? Has there been changes? And I don't want to put you in the hot seat here. Has there been changes with parents and dealing with parents?
Well, I'll first talk about the kids because that's what's the most important to me, because that's who we're with every day. I think the kids want discipline. They wanted it back in the 80s, and they want it now. If you allow them to go astray, they're going to.
Right.
I have guys that have come back to some games this year, and they just remember some of the stuff how hard some of the practices were. But, it definitely makes me feel good because they come back and they want to be around the program. So it definitely, I hear a lot that it's helped them in life lessons, which is the most important thing to me. And as far as the players today, I don't see really any difference. I don't think,
Right.
when somebody said to me about, you really want to get back and be around those kids again, I think the kids are great. I really don't see an issue with that. You give them respect, they give you respect. Our practices, even the guys that don't play that much, they get reps through every practice of what we're doing. They just don't stand on the sideline, and they're just not practice dummies, whatever you want to call it. They contribute at practice, and we had a tremendous practice today. And getting to the parents, I try not to get too close to parents because they all want what's best for their own kid. But I have a meet and greet, which we did this season after the season started. And, I basically say, I'm here, to coach your kids. I'm not here to coach the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And we're never going to talk
Right.
about playing time. So I think if you set the standard up front with parents, I think you minimize issues that you can have throughout the season. And of course, it goes back to winning. If you're winning, everybody's happy.
Right. Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
So I'm gonna name drop here, Coach. A friend of mine who played for you many years ago. He credits you with a lot that he knows about basketball today. You as a coach, and then later him as a coach. What he got from you, and that's Dwan Lee at Bishop McDevitt. And you're one of his guys, Coach. Whether you know it or not, I'm sure you probably do. But what was it like having Dwan on your roster many years ago?
I was so happy he came to us. I mean, he was a terrific player. He was quiet, but he did all his talking by the way he played the game, and he was a tremendous player for us. I actually just ran into one. I went to see East in Carlisle the other night, and it's always great to see the old players. Some of these guys, though, I've seen them, at the Cedar Cliff tournament. I said, "God, you guys have more gray hair than me. Your beards are gray, your hair's gray." I said, "You put weight on." I said, "I might be able to play it right now."
Yeah, Coach, you look pretty good, by the way, man. I know you're not that old, but you look great for whatever age you are.
Yeah, older than you think.
Where are you at there? Is that the school or is that your home?
No, this is at where my business used to be.
Okay.
Now my son and my nephew own the business.
I see the filing cabinets. They look kind of old school back there.
Yeah. They probably came here about 1990.
I'm sure. Dave, you want to ask one more? You have one to take us out with?
Sure, Coach. Good luck rest of the year. I'm going to be following you. Great to see you. I feel like I'm seeing you right in the flesh. There you go.
John Velios, anything else?
Coach, it looks like in 4A this year, it's setting up to be the usual Bishop McDevitt Berks Catholic showdown. Have you played against Coach Snip Esterly before?
Well, we played them last year in the first round of the districts.
Okay.
Down at Berks. Came in, I think we felt we had to do something a little different, play a little triangle too, and it worked for a while. But when you're playing good teams like that, it's going to catch up with you over the course of a game. That's not something that we have to do with this current team.
Right.
And it obviously they're well aware they're on our radar, but I still have a lot of respect for Susquehanna Township. We play them on Tuesday at home, so this is going to be a good gauge to see where we're at. And my job is to keep these guys, focused, and not slip up, because we work so hard so far, and we want to win our league, and we want to represent our league in the mid-pens. And each game is very, very important.
Yeah, Susquehanna Township, it took them a little while to get going last year, I remember, and they have some veteran players. They have some guys that have contributed at a high level for the last couple of years. So I don't think we've heard the last of them. That's a really good point. That could be a really good game for both teams. So, Coach, thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite
really
welcome.
Appreciate. We're excited for you, and keep winning, keep having great practices, keep loving those young men, and keep contributing to be one of the reasons why high school sports in Central Pennsylvania are so great. We really appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep. Have a great evening. Take care.
Okay.
All right, man. That's a good guy, good coach, good interview. So anyway, fellas.
Very, very humble, Joe. He doesn't want to talk about himself.
No, he really doesn't. He's
had a pretty storied career. If you look at his overall record coaching, it's way over 500.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of wins. I don't know exactly how many, but maybe Berman can let us know.
I'll get to that in a second. You guys keep
it's about 300-400, I'm guessing. I don't know, something like that. More than that, yeah.
Yeah. So let's.
Joe, do you have it? Do you have it, Joe?
I do not. Because I knew a lot of times I get really nerdy with the stats. I knew we were just going to kind of be talking shop with Coach.
Yeah, we could post it later, Joe.
So I didn't get into all that stat finding. So let's jump in here and look at. Let's start with how we typically do. We don't have any housekeeping stuff or outside the lines stuff this week. Let's just jump in and look at the Mid-Penn Conference divisions. Okay. Start with the Commonwealth, and we have a surprise team in there, guys. I've learned to trust and use information from Penn Live. They do a great job, and I think they had State College picked to be one of the last teams in the Commonwealth division. And, they have a great coach up there, and they're really competing. They're 4-1 in the division, 6-3 overall. And
they play a tough non-league schedule. They Lower Merion took the trip up there, 4-hour trip to play them. How do you like that? Lower Merion. And they battled in tough. Lower Merion, one of the best teams I've seen down here, and State College was right there with them, man. So
it was like a 5 or 6 point game.
It was right there, man. Lower Merion. So they're in the mix, and it's great to see. Great. How about those Harrisburg Cougars? Yeah,
they're doing well. They're doing real well. And Brian Shawley, I've said that State College has a really good coach, and Brian Shawley is their coach. We kind of been doing this. Let's draw a line where we think that who still has some life left to run for the division. I think you can go down to what we're looking at there. Even to Chambersburg. I mean, with their coach Scheffler, it would be an uphill battle for Chambersburg or Harrisburg, both with 3 losses in the division. But there's a lot of big matchups left to be played here, obviously. And Harrisburg's just getting better and better. They've won 6 straight. They were 0-3, and they're 6-3 overall now. So Central Dauphin just got Jared D'Olimpio and his brother Derek added to their roster, and we kind of didn't want to talk about specifically who those players were, but they just transferred in from Cumberland Valley, and of course Cumberland Valley. Look at them, 4-1, 6-3 overall, and just a lot of really good. That's Dave Vespignani at Cumberland Valley. A lot of really good coaches in the Commonwealth division, and then we got Central Dauphin East at 3-2 and 6-2 overall. So there's a lot of winning going on there in the Commonwealth,
It's
fellas.
still up in the air for sure.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, a lot of people expect, Central Dauphin to kind of blossom and to be there, and they have a new coach. And but those other teams, man, they're not going anywhere. They're not afraid of Central Dauphin. Central Dauphin has good players, but it takes more than just good players to win games and to win titles. So, how about if we jump into the Keystone Division? Hershey hot off of a really big win. John, you said they won by like 30 over, was it Conestoga Valley, something like that?
Yeah, Conestoga Valley is 6A, and they were number 1 in the power rankings for a couple of weeks there, and they've plummeted, but they've lost like 4 in a row, I believe. But still, a big win by 33 over Conestoga Valley.
And Hershey has Cedar Cliff tomorrow.
Right.
Is tomorrow the 5th?
Yep.
Yeah, they have Cedar Cliff tomorrow. And then some
That's
of the big
going to be a
games.
major game for the Keystone Division there. Obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then Cedar Cliff has Hershey and Milton Hershey back to back. That's a challenging couple games
Tough
there.
schedule there.
I forgot to mention some of these Commonwealth. I don't really have to get into it. You already know there's 5 or 6 teams still vying in the Commonwealth. They just all play one another here in the next couple of weeks. That's just
Mifflin County guys. They were 4 and 5, and then they played. They played a lot of in their non-league schedule, which I know next year they're going to bump up instead of these 4A teams. I know they're going to be playing. I recommended play some 6A teams, Philly Catholic League teams, stuff like that next year. But they beat Midwest, they're now 5 and 5. Tomorrow night, it's huge. It's going to be a packed house, Mifflin County. It's they return home after a long road trip. It's a camouflage night. Did you ever hear? It's pretty cool, isn't it?
That sounds very Mifflin County.
Very,
wait a second, a long road trip. What do you mean? They're just out playing road games?
Well, they just
like when the Phillies go and play the San Francisco and LA and San Diego.
For a while, but they have a lot of these. They have a lot of home games coming up, including Lower.
I understand.
Tomorrow. And you talk about the camouflage night, and people just love that up there, hunting and fishing and sports, and it's a big tight fit community up there, man. Right. You got to you know all about it.
We're drawing the line underneath Cedar Cliff here. We think it's Hershey, Milton Hershey, or Cedar Cliff.
Hey, Joe, Palmyra's in the Keystone there too, right?
They have 3 losses.
Shout out to Coach Bean. Coach Bean was on our show last week. And
great guest on our show last week.
So ever since being on the show, Joe, they're 3-0. They had 3 wins this past week.
Wow, man.
So they've won 4 in a row now. After beating Mifflin County, they won 3 after he was on the show last week.
We've always said that you get good mojo. Overwhelmingly, the coaches that come on the show get big wins after they leave.
Yeah. So Palmyra overall is now 6 and 5 after winning 4 in a row. So good job to Coach Bean.
That's really good. How about let's jump into the Capital Division, and we know what's going on there. McDevitt, Trinity, Susquehanna Township. McDevitt's undefeated, and Trinity and Township both have 1 loss. So, and there's a lot of those guys got to play one another here. Let's go with McDevitt. They play Susquehanna Township on, I guess it's Tuesday. And then James Buchanan, Executive Education. Trinity has Steel High on Tuesday, and then Big Spring, and then Bishop Guilfoyle. And Susquehanna Township has McDevitt, Spring Grove, and Boiling Springs. So, don't expect for that to be wrapped up anytime soon by whomever ends up winning it. And then the Colonial Division, I think we're going to keep the line drawn under Northern York, and not because Ty Savercool's a friend of mine and he's a really good coach, just because, it has to do with him being a really good coach. He's got 2 losses, and Greencastle and East Pennsboro above them have no losses. But I think it's early enough in the season for Northern York to kind of claw their way back in. You got to start by winning now. You can't, if you're Northern York, you can't pick up that 3rd loss. But Northern York has New Oxford, Middletown, and West Perry this week. Greencastle has Gettysburg and East Penn, and East Penn has Waynesboro and Greencastle. So we're moving right along here, fellas, in the Mid-Penn. And I think for the first time, we're going to take a look here at and Dave, be ready for our your district, District 1, District 12, and District 6 recap, but we're going to take a look.
How good is the Philadelphia Catholic League and Imhotep this year? I sent you videos. These teams look like college teams.
Yeah, they're really good. So we're not going to talk much about 1A. That's mostly with respect to these schools. I mean, there's nothing wrong. We just don't really have we don't have these teams in our backyards. Harrisburg Christian, yes, but there's the lineup for 1A in district. That's where they sit. That's where they stand right now. And 1A gets 10 participants. There's 2A. 2A is kind of interesting. I mean, no surprise seeing DeLone Catholic and York Catholic there. I watched a little bit of the York Catholic Steel High game yesterday, and boy, it ended up 88-66 York Catholic. And I can't imagine in a month's time, by the time, and it's happened, but man, it's going to be hard for Steel High to compete with DeLone and York Catholic, you know. And the disadvantage that Steel High has is they play a much tougher, much more challenging schedule than the two teams below them, Linville Hill Christian and Greenwood. You know, Steel High, they're just kind of, I guess I'll use the word stuck. They don't have any choice. They have to play teams in much higher classifications, at least a couple classifications up.
Yeah,
in
that
those
Linville
cases.
Hill team, where they're state champs, defending they won the state championship.
Yeah, it's yeah.
They always cause our Chester Charter team. We just can't hang. We hang, but it's really hard for our teams down here to compete with those Amish Mennonite kids. You saw Lancaster Mennonite beating Chester yesterday. It was unbelievable.
They're good basketball players, and they're not all Mennonite either. You know, it's a private school. They can bring in
one thing about them. They maintain their composure. Hardly, I don't see any trash. They're very professional,
disciplined. Yeah. Yep. So next we have 3A. Usual suspects, Trinity at number 1 with that one loss to McDevitt, Lancaster Mennonite, and you know, I'm going to say that it's probably going to be one of those two, and they're both way ahead of number 3 on down. So that's kind of setting up, even as early as it is in the season, that's setting up to be kind of your district championship game, you know. So pardon me for getting so far ahead, but John, do you see anything? Are you looking at that? Do you see anybody else butting in there and getting higher?
No, I mean, yeah, Lancaster Catholic had a good win the other day, but they're 2-8 overall. So, yeah,
and then we have.
So let's just mention real quick, Joe, how many teams go in from you said from 1A is 10 teams will make it to district. 2A is going to be 4 teams.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. Thank you, John.
And then 3A is going to be 6 teams are going to make it.
Yeah. Yep. And then we'll look at 4A next, and that's eight teams make it in 4A. And there's 4A. McDevitt's got a really nice cushion. You know, they're at kind of 84%. And I can't.
And just going back a few years, they used to take 10 teams, so they must have lost a few 4A teams.
Right.
So now they're down to 8. So it's a little bit more competitive to get in that top 8.
And McDevitt and Berks Catholic are way ahead of the number 3 team, Susquehanna. So, you know, it could be two really good. Now that Coach Rao's not with us on the show anymore, I'll say it. That could be it could be a really good title game. You know, I know that no coach that I know wants to talk about district championship games on January 3rd or whatever it is today. I think it's the 4th. Yeah, but boy, will that be a nice matchup, John and Dave.
Yeah, I mean, that's been going on for a while. Like I said, Joe, the unfortunate part for McDevitt is that I think when Berks makes it to the championship game that they've never lost. But they've battled each other on the way to the district championship before also. So
you're saying that Berks is undefeated once they get to the title game?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm not one of those guys, one of those sports guys that puts a whole lot of, I mean, yeah, it's a strong trend when it's somebody's an 0 and 0, you know what I mean? However many times they've been in, but it just takes one game, one good team, one prepared team to execute. So, but that's a good point, though. I mean, it is a good point. They have Coach Esterly, you know, when he gets in, he wins. So, and then I guess there's 5A. 5A is kind of brutal, man.
Yeah,
take a look at Northern. Yeah, take a look at Northern York. And what did we just say? What do they have? 16 or
16.
Yeah, 16. And Northern York is they're 5-4, and they're right on the cusp there. They're right at 16. So they're not, no slouches are kind of backing into that one, guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then we'll go to 6A. And let's see here.
They take 16 now.
Yeah,
Okay. It used to be less.
Used to be 12.
Right. So the more teams moved up from 5A to 6A also.
And there again, you got, I mentioned Central Dauphin a while ago. They're at number 9. That's a good number 9 team. Cumberland Valley with Dave Vespignani at number 10.
Yeah, Harrisburg.
At the top is Central York, and they just keep winning. They've had a bunch of good seasons back to back to back. And Muhlenberg had a big win against Central Dauphin. From what I hear, they're very good, Muhlenberg. And then, Cedar Cliff, they just picked up a loss, but they're 9-2, and they're having a good. So there's a lot of really good teams there. And again,
Reading is back on the map, right, Joe?
Reading is back on the map, and Coach Rick Perez will be back on this show next Sunday night. I just talked to him today, and he's a friend of ours and doing well. Yeah, I mean, all it takes to get a basketball team or program, kind of charged up is to bring in Rick Perez, and it's worked again. I mean, he's just doing really well there. So
yeah, and it's important to mention here too, Joe. Central Dauphin East has the highest power ranking out of the Commonwealth at the current moment.
They do. Yes, they do. Yeah, they're at 6. Central Dauphin at 9, CV at 10, Harrisburg at 11, and Chambersburg at 14. So, man, lots of good teams, lots of good coaches there. So let's jump out of here and Dave Berman, time to bring you in, buddy. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk District 1? District
All right. Well, we'll
12?
go. We'll talk District 1. Chester. We'll focus on Chester because they beat Muhlenberg big. Okay, but they lost to Lancaster Mennonite 50-48. Chase Hurst, 1,000 point score. Not the biggest kid. He did the Jalen Brunson thing. He came down the court all by himself. Well, he was guarded by a bunch of guys. The game's on tape. You'll have to check it out. And they beat Chester with his game-winning shot with 2 seconds ago, a driving layup. But Mennonite, you saw what they've done out there. You have all their scores against teams they played against you. And
yeah, they're good. They're just good.
Well, very, very well. And then Chester lost to Abington. Just so many crazy matchups. I'm going to, District 1 is just 6A, 5A. It's up for grabs. Anybody can win it. Now, the Catholic League is just insane.
Here we go. I want to throw that up. I didn't want to interrupt you, but we can.
Central York is going to lose Brooklyn Nace sometime this month to his college. Oh, okay.
He's the quarterback. He was the quarterback. I think he started.
But it happens. Yeah. Chester, we lost a basketball player, Deron Harris, played last year. He's going to Temple, so he's leaving midseason.
Yeah.
LaSalle High School would be much better, but Joey O'Brien, 6'6", and Grayson McHugh, 6'8", 2 studs on the state championship football team. They are going early to Notre Dame.
Thank you, Daniel, for that information. We appreciate that, and we're fans of Central York sports. Jerry Yanchuk's a friend of mine, and Brooklyn Nace, what a great young man and great athlete. So, what about this Philly Catholic League, Dave?
Today, Lansdale Catholic took red. I'm just trying to compare scores so you get, right, John?
Okay. It's your time, buddy.
Okay, but I'm trying to get you guys involved with comparing. Lansdale Catholic took Reading to overtime last week. Father Judge beat Lansdale Catholic today, 80-47. Father Judge is only 3-7, but keep an eye on them. And
just a matter of time for them, Dave. Father
Roman
Judge.
Catholic today beat West Catholic, West Catholic is better than last year, 60-44 Roman. And Devon Prep lost everybody from their top 7 guys, but they beat Cardinal O'Hara 2 days ago. They played Goretti today, and they lost by 20. Goretti 69-50. So Goretti looks like they're, to me, and Bonner's great too. I'm predicting, I would love to, I think I'd like to see Pencrest get in there. It's just so hard, just like football, for our District 1 teams to get to a state championship game. You guys are lucky out there. You had Reading 3 times go to the state finals. You had Central York a couple years ago. So you guys are more blessed than we are.
It's a
Same
little.
with District 12 there, right, Dave? It's difficult for them
That's
to
what we're
place
talking about.
multiple teams.
The Catholic League is or the District 12 is the Catholic and Public League, both.
Right.
Right, I
So-
think it's District 1.
You should see how good Imhotep looks.
Yeah. So with respect to what these guys have to go through, it's a gauntlet up here too. But I think what you're saying is sometimes the 2 or 3 best teams in the state in a certain classification can all be in the same league, right? Is that what you're
It's
kind
a
of
lot of fun
alluding
to follow. Great website, Beyond the Arc basketball.com. It gives you all the Interact and like the Malvern Preps, Springside, Chestnut Hill, all the Catholic League teams, complete updates, and all the Central League teams like Lower Merion, Marble Newtown, Radnor, blah blah blah. Those teams. I'm trying to get the Del Val League on there too. This Chester, Chichester, teams like that.
So anybody else in the public league down there worth talking about other than Imhotep?
Archbishop Wood looks unbelievable.
Do they again? Okay.
That game, they had a down year last year, Wood, John Moscow, but they're back. And Archbishop Wood beat Father Judge on Friday, 63-58. You watch these games a lot of them are televised, and Joe, you think you're watching a small college. You've seen it, and the girls down here. Wait till you see O'Hara and Carroll. So that'll be interesting to see how maybe a Red Lion can fare with them, Upper Dublin down the road, maybe a Central Dauphin, because you're going to but it's going to be here before you know it. But you should enjoy the regular old District 3, District 1. You want to win the district, you want to win your league, then the district. And, they're fortunate in District 6, Mifflin County State College. It's already said they're going to meet for the District 6, 6A championship. Boys basketball.
Right. Yeah, Altoona would be the third in that classification.
How many games they going to win? They're going to end up with
they're not going to win many games.
Would you go in with a 6-16 record? But you've seen, we talked about that ad nauseum over the years.
Well, what was that? 4 years ago when Mifflin County and Altoona played? Was it Mifflin County and Altoona or Mifflin County?
Yes, Mifflin County was they were 6-13.
Right.
And Altoona was 2-15 or something.
Yeah. And suitably that went into overtime, right?
It was a great game.
It really was.
And Altoona pulled it out. So Mifflin County got over that hump this year. And if they, they're going to have some tough Mechanicsburg. They're going to have some tough teams. Hershey, one more time. And they're going to have some tough games. But I think Mifflin County will go 10-2 the rest of the year. They'll end up 15-7 and then take their chances with the State College in the District 6 championship.
Yeah, let's Paul Blackburn and Hershey, ho-hum, they're 10-0 again.
There you go. They go west, right? District 5, the winner goes west. Is that true?
I'm not at that point yet. I will look into that here soon. I do start looking at the brackets pretty early, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, because last year was Newman Goretti.
But it changes sometimes too, Dave.
Yeah. I love our Pencrest team down here. I know I'm just throwing names out here.
That's okay. That's all right. That's what we're here for.
And Bonner looks unbelievable. I mean, they look great, but we'll see how everything, their goal, and they always say, we don't care about the state tournament. All we care about is going to the Palestra.
I think they do. I've talked to coaches and players from the District 12, and I think they care at least more than I don't think if they had a choice between one or the other, I think they would take the Catholic League or the public league, winning in
championship.
Yeah.
We'll have fun next week if we can get John Allen on, because John knows it all. He's been through the wars as a player, Coatesville head coach.
Right.
And he knows he already beat Father Judge.
I've already reached out to him this morning, Coach Allen.
Is he pumped? Is he ready?
He hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Okay. All right.
So some of these guys, some of these coaches aren't just sitting around on Facebook. I left them a messenger, a Facebook private message
with that. So that would be great to have him. And then you can throw him all the questions. That's where I've got to get my District 1, District 12 guys, District 1 especially. And John knows the Catholic League. John knows who have to. Lower Merion, by the way, as good as they are. And Downer, apparently Greg Downer brings some guys in with that Better Chance School in Lower Merion. And they have they've lost the last 6 years. They've been knocked out of the PIAA state tournament by the Philadelphia Catholic League.
Mm.
So
That's a tough draw.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually you got to play them though.
And we usually meet them. So yeah, we'll see, man. But I'm excited for you guys. Central York, they're fired up. York High, McCaskey. I mean, I follow all that stuff.
John, who do you think? Who should we be watching out for here? I know that you're starting to follow this stuff a little bit. What teams do you think are just kind of creeping along? Any of the usual suspects? Anybody new that you're kind of feeling the vibe with?
In the Philadelphia League?
No, up here, up this way.
Oh! I thought we were still in Philly.
No, we're moving back up the turnpike. I kind of the reason I asked the question, I'm kind of feeling Harrisburg a little bit, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about Harrisburg since a few weeks ago, and I was thinking that they still had a shot to win the Commonwealth, even with 3 losses in the Commonwealth, right?
I do too. Normally, I would say no way at this stage, at this juncture. But I mean, I talk a lot about your top 3 teams or players. I'm sorry, and I know that most coaches play 6 through maybe 8 or 9 players, but if you have 3 good players to start with, as Harrisburg does with Jayon Lewis, Reese Brown, and oh gosh, John, the sophomore that came from McDevitt. Arp. Yeah, Demir Arp. Sorry. That's a really good start. You got to keep them healthy. You got to keep them out of foul trouble and hope that you can keep them on the floor. But it's hard to beat a team that has those guys out there. So I think they're gonna stick around.
You know what really they do. Well, the connection there, Joe, with Upper Darby. Harrisburg just smoked Upper Darby, and they're one of the better teams.
Yeah. So, I don't think it's again. They lost their first 3. They had 2 of their best players were football players. They were they were playing on football legs still, and they are still probably to a degree. That's what's even more scary about it. So, I'm kind of excited about. Again, I mentioned about State College. I'm excited about them only because they were kind of looked at to not do so well. That's the best way I can put it. I think they were picked 7th or 8th in the Commonwealth. Dave, I sent you that.
I wonder what I didn't see their preseason report. Why did the Sentinel? Yeah, Harrisburg. I still call it the Harrisburg. Why did the Sentinel rank
7th? Penn Live.
Who was 8th?
Altoona.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just an exciting for somebody. I try to stay neutral, and for somebody that just covers high school basketball, it's an exciting story. Picked to finish 7th, and last year they finished under 500, 10-13, and here they are tied at the top of the Commonwealth.
But they've won back-to-back District 6 championships too. Had a whole bunch in their history. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to see how this goes. And, I follow it all. I get on the District 3 website. I follow you guys. I follow your thread. I know the girl, we got to have a whole show on girls basketball. I know you guys can.
I would like to. Would you sit in for that one, Dave? Would you help out?
I can throw some of our teams down here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then you're hired, because I'd like to do maybe a mid-season girls show. I know I can't do one every week. I just don't have people that are willing to. You're already doing a show with me, but if we could just do like a one-off, like a mid-season, we have some good girls basketball up here too. Of course, we always do. So.
Just think if you're a boys basketball fan this year, Joe, locally in the Mid-Penn, it's just everybody's having a really decent year so far to this point. You got CD East, you got Central Dauphin, you got Cumberland Valley in the Commonwealth. You got in the Keystone, you got Hershey, Cedar Cliff, you got Milton Hershey.
Let's just include McDevitt in there. I mean, nobody.
I'm going down the divisions. McDevitt. You got Trinity. You got Susquehanna. I mean, there's a lot of teams to be excited about. And it hasn't been like that.
No.
The last few years, for sure.
No. We've had the same 3 teams at the top of the Commonwealth: Chambersburg, Cumberland Valley, and Central Dauphin. It's just basically the same teams have been at the top of all the divisions, and we have teams saying, it's our turn, let us in. So, all right, fellas. Well, I think that's going to do it. We're at the 50-minute mark, and that's fine. We try to keep it 45 to 60 minutes, and I think 50 is enough. And for tonight, and we had a great opening guest, Coach Jim Rowe, in his 28th season overall. First season at McDevitt, first season back at McDevitt after 18 prior seasons, and then he had 9 at Cedar Cliff. So let's take one more look at our Lingostown Gazette Sports Platinum sponsors there. Please, if you need insurance, if you need sports apparel, if you have a kid that plays AAU basketball, you need a bite to eat, Ted's Bar and Grill, Tonino's Pizza, Crystal Bob at Iron Valley Real Estate, Hoffman Ford for your new and used cars, Sam Hartley Decking for all your decking and fence needs. Of course, the Tire Mart. I've been going there for 30 years. I was just there yesterday. And then, the American Legion, that's kind of a different scenario. You can get what is that called, guys?
Membership.
Yeah, you can get a membership if you're not a veteran, if you're not active or retired military, social membership, which I have. And the food's actually really good there. It's kind of like sports bar food, but it doesn't taste like Legion or VFW or Moose Lodge food. It's good food. So please, if you're able, check these local businesses out. All right.
Anyway, I want to say that Jim Rowe I am 1 year older than Coach Rowe. I will tell you that. Okay.
All right.
How's that sound, guys? So Coach Rowe, we can talk about 276 wins at McDevitt, and then add 141 for Cedar Cliff. And what do you get?
About 420.
That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, but look at the percentage too, Dave, on the losses. It's a good percentage.
Right, 235 losses. Yeah,
right.
Unbelievable. So, all right, man. So here we go.
Dave, what would we do without you, man? None of us, John or myself or any of the guys in the football show, we don't do what you do. Okay. You're an integral part of these shows. We don't do stats. We don't know the history. We don't.
I can only do so much.
We were watching Jim Rowe 35 years ago.
Right, I was doing the games, but you guys. Right. That's why I try to. I don't want to tag you on every post, but I do put a lot of, and I put the videos. A lot of these games that are archived. Do you guys want to sit back and watch these Philly teams? The Catholic League. Coach Gaffey, Mike calls them the Philly teams. He calls them the Philly teams.
Right.
So, and then you can see it's very impressive looking. It's very impressive looking.
Yep. Okay. So for John Velios, Dave Berman, I'm Joe Gillaway. Next week, we have Rick Perez from Reading High as our opening coach guest. We really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great evening.